Ever wondered how public health officials can stop a disease outbreak in its tracks? I mean, how do they connect all these seemingly random cases of people getting sick across a whole city? Well, it's kind of like a detective story, but the clues, they're not fingerprints or footprints. Nope, they're hidden deep inside the DNA of the germs themselves. And this science, it is absolutely changing the game. So here's our plan. We are going to follow a case from the very beginning to the very end. We'll start with a public health mystery, then we'll meet the genetic detectives on the case. We'll get a peek inside their super high-tech toolkit, see exactly how they crack the case, and finally, we'll talk about why this field is just so important for all of us. All right, let's set the scene. Picture a busy city. Everything is normal. But then, something starts to go wrong. A strange, unknown illness begins to spread, and for public health officials, the clock is officially ticking. At first, it's just a trickle. In week 1, a few reports come in. No big deal, right? But by week 2, those numbers jump. And by week 3, oh boy, it's a full-blown crisis. It's obvious that whatever is happening, it's escalating, and fast. And here's where the puzzle gets really tricky. We've got dozens of people getting sick, all with the exact same weird symptoms, but they don't know each other. They live in different neighborhoods, they work miles apart. The usual ways you'd connect people, they're just not there. So this is the central mystery, the big question hanging over everything. With absolutely no obvious links between the patients, how on earth are these cases connected? To solve a mystery like this, you can't just use the old playbook. You need a new kind of investigator. So let's introduce the heroes of our story, the genetic detectives. These detectives are specialists in a field called molecular epidemiology. Now, that sounds complicated, but the idea is actually pretty simple. It's the science of using a bug's own genetic code, its DNA or RNA, as a clue to figure out how a disease is moving through a population. Think of it like disease surveillance, but at a microscopic level. And this is a huge leap forward. Traditional methods rely on interviews, asking people questions like, who did you meet, or where have you been? Molecular epidemiology adds this incredibly powerful new question to the mix. What is the pathogen's unique genetic fingerprint? It doesn't replace the old ways, it just supercharges them. So how in the world do these genetic detectives actually find that fingerprint? Okay, let's open up their toolkit and see what's inside. The process is actually pretty straightforward. First, you've got to collect samples from the patients. Then, back in the lab, you isolate the pathogen's genetic code, its DNA or RNA. The third step, this is the magic right here, gene sequencing. This is where machines literally read the genetic code letter by letter, turning biological stuff into digital data. And finally, you use some serious computing power to compare all those codes from different patients hunting for a match. And here's the concept that makes it all work. You can think of it like this. Every single strain of a virus or a bacteria has its own unique genetic barcode. So if two patients have germs with the exact same barcode, it means their infections are linked 100%, even if the patients themselves have never ever met. Okay, so our detectives have their tools, they've got their first clues from the lab. It's time to get back to our mystery and see how they crack this thing wide open. And the first results come in. This is a huge breakthrough. You've got patients A from the north side, patient B from downtown, patient C from the west end. These people are all over the city. But the genetic barcode from the pathogen making them sick, it's identical, XJ734. This is it. This is the definitive proof that this is all one single outbreak. So now we know what is connecting them, which is a massive step. But, it just leads to the next big question. If the germs are all identical, where did they all come from? What's the common source? So the detectives start testing everything. Food samples, water samples, you name it, looking for that same exact genetic barcode. And then they get a hit. This is the aha moment. They can actually build a sort of family tree for the pathogen, and all the patient samples trace right back to one single source, a sample from a popular brand of pre-packaged salads, which also has the barcode XJ734. The mystery is solved. Now that they've identified the culprit, officials can get a public alert out, recall the contaminated salads, and stop the outbreak in its tracks before anyone else gets sick. That's a real-world victory, all thanks to some incredible genetic detective work. Now, that was just one case in one city, But let's zoom out for a second and look at the bigger picture, because that's where you really see why this field is so critical for, well, all of us. The power here is just immense. This is what lets us track diseases in real time during a global pandemic. It's how we can identify outbreak sources with pinpoint accuracy, just like with those salads. It even helps us watch how viruses are evolving and changing over time, which is absolutely crucial for developing effective vaccines and treatments. I want to leave you with just one number, a single number that really shows the incredible impact of this technology, and that number is 24. What does that mean? It means that using these genetic tools can take a complicated outbreak investigation, something that used to take weeks, and shrink it down to just 24 hours. And in public health, that kind of speed doesn't just save time, it saves lives. And that really leads to one last thought. As these amazing genetic detective tools get even faster, even more powerful, what's the next public health mystery we're going to solve before it even has a chance to begin? I really hope you enjoyed that deep dive into the world of genetic detectives. If you found this useful, do us a favor and hit like and subscribe. You can also catch the audio version of this wherever you get your podcasts. We'd love to hear from you, so drop a comment and let us know what you want us to break down next. Thanks for tuning in.